It's been 302 days since Hamas terrorists waged war on Israel, massacring more than 1,300 and kidnapping more than 200 innocents. One of the 200 hostages is Omer Neutra. Omer is an Israeli Defense Forces first responder. He's also an American citizen. Omer's parents, Orna and Ronen Neutra, join me. Good evening, and to either one of you. First responders, to me, they're just different kind of people. Tell me about your son, because they really are special people, because they just go in to help people. So tell me about your son.
You're absolutely right. Everyone asks, tell me about Omer, but I can say freely that Omer is unique. On the one hand, he's just an all-American kid. He's, athletic. He loves the NBA, the NFL, but he's always had this leadership quality in him. And it showed really in high school. He's this big, tall guy with a big smile on his face, and people are drawn towards him. He's very social. And he was the captain of his volleyball, soccer, basketball teams in high school. And he was the regional president of his youth group. So he's always showed this kind of leadership trait. And that's what also eventually drove him to decide to join the IDF and become a tank commander in the Armored Corps.
Orna, with the news that's coming out of in the past couple of days, do you have sort of your thoughts about? I mean, you've always worried about your son, but does this change things for you in your mind? What are you thinking about?
I was thinking about, as we were listening to your previous interview, that this has been over 300 days now. We're exhausted, and the hostages are in these horrible conditions for such a long time. We don't even have a sign of life, like what we heard before. We don't have a sign of life. And we've been on 10 anxiety, like 100 anxiety already, and then everything just gets exacerbated by the escalation and by the news, the horrible news that keeps coming in from the region. It's just horrible. We were about to sign a deal to release the hostages, and everything is up in the air again.
Ronen, your thoughts about you met with Prime Minister Netanyahu. What did you say to him?
Well, it was a special meeting in the White House that President Biden invited us. And basically, we told the Prime Minister that we are hearing from all the agencies in Israel that they're ready for a deal, that Israel is strong, that Israel is ready for tough decisions. And in front of President Biden, we heard a commitment from Prime Minister Netanyahu that he's going to drive to a deal. And of course, to hear a couple of days later that everything is put on hold, assassination in Beirut, maybe in other places, it just tells us that we're not sure that the Prime Minister really wants to drive home the deal. And I want to remind everybody that by reaching this deal, we're going to have a de-escalation of the whole Middle East. It all starts from the hostages release. It's going to bring calm in Gaza. It's going to bring calm with the Hezbollah. And then everything around it is going to drive a much more peaceful time that Israel needs. And of course, the people in Gaza needs. It's time to bring these hostages back. It's 302 days. It's a long time. A lot of them are dying there in those terrible conditions. Those are not regular prisons. They are in tunnels without food, water, medical condition. They need to come back to their families, whoever is alive. And the people that are dead need to come for proper burial in Israel.
Ronen Neutra, thank you very much for joining me. I never really know what to say to parents, as in your instance, other than that that I really do know that special responders are special people. So I'm sure that your son is special likewise. Thank you very much for joining us, and I hope we don't go to 303 or 304, but I fear we are. We're going to keep going on those days. Thank you both for joining me.
Thank you. Good evening.